So even if someone has a history of not being an amazing test taker, they can always go into a test and do incredible.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the best MBA podcast in the world, Get to B School. This is your host, Drex, and I am grateful that you're here. I know we don't talk as much as we used to, but I'm excited for this one. The guest for this episode is Bara Sapir. She is building some really cool things. She'll talk about MindFlow, which is her platform that helps people increase their capacity to read faster and to retain what they're reading a lot better. The website is mindflowspeedreading.com. Check it out. I tried it out, loved it. I think it's great, not just for helping someone get ready to take a test, but for anyone who needs to kind of increase their ability to read a little bit better all around. So thought it was wonderful, loved it. The other platform that she is working on with her team is citytestprep.com. That's where you can find her and some of her team for coaching. So if you need a professional coach, you need an admissions coach, check them out too. Lots of great people. I loved the themes that she brings up through the episode, and especially her approach to, maybe this is just the past athlete in me, the past wannabe athlete in me, but I loved her approach to performance. She compares, competing in sports to performing in tests and performing in your job. And I liked it. And maybe I'm just a sucker for that athletic comparison, but thought it was great. Thought it was entertaining, fun, helpful, applicable, all the good things that you want in a great MBA conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. I know I'm not getting these out as fast as I used to. Things are just busy. Things are fun. They're busy, but these conversations are still happening. So if you know someone or if you need to be on the podcast, reach out and we'll make it happen. It might take a while to produce the episode, but we will get the recording done. I think that is it. So before I belabor the point anymore, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to run down to campus where my family is right now. Every Friday, they do a, call it TG, and the cool non-parents go and have a drink together and the families go and have pizza together. So that's where my family is. I need to hightail it over there because I finally wrapped up with work, wrapped up with a couple of things that I'm doing, and want to go see them. Hope you're well. Hope you have a great week. And if there's anything that I can do, please reach out. Otherwise, let's get to the good part with Bara Sapir. Bara, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
It is great to be here. Thank you so much for the welcome.
No, I am thrilled that you're here. It's so fun when strangers become friends. And so I would love if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself a little bit to the listeners.
Sure. So my name is Bara Sapir. I'm the founder of City Test Prep and also the creator founder of MindFlow Speed Reading, an online speed reading and performance app. And I've been in this field for, 30 some odd years. Can't believe it. Don't tell anyone. But I'm really a pioneer in bringing the holistic, mindful approach to studying for tests and helping students get out of their own way. And it's been a really wonderful trajectory to be helping students get to the place where they need to go.
Awesome. And what drove you to that? That was one of my first questions after I, did a little deep dive in your portfolio. You've spent some time, and not just some time, but you've had some impact in this industry. Why did you choose test prep? Why did you choose education prep?
Well, I might want to say that it chose me more than me choosing it. The truth is, when I was in undergrad, I was at University of Michigan and decided to go to graduate school and took a test prep course for the GRE. And in the course, it was very dynamic. It was Princeton Review. And I thought, I can totally do this. This looks fun. This is great. And frankly, it was paid better. Like people who worked there were paid better than other part-time jobs. So when I got back to campus, I applied to work for them after I got accepted to graduate school. And I actually stayed at Michigan in their art history program. So while I was in art history, I worked for them in Detroit and Ann Arbor, and then moved to New York and worked for them in New York and New Jersey. And it was always a side thing until 2005. And I think that what really the hook was for me was that the way that big test prep companies worked, at least then, was the curriculum was amazing, but the end effect for some students was not the desired result. They would go into tests and they'd be nervous and they'd move too fast, or they'd go in and they'd move too slow, or they would just have brain freezes, or they'd have panic attacks. And so my undergrad is in fine arts, and I wanted to draw from getting into flow and helping students to really drop in to be able to perform their best. And this is just parallel to what high performance athletes do. And that was what really intrigued me. So when I moved to New York, I was working for the company. I lived abroad for a couple of years and started doing my own thing, really bridging together these worlds and giving students skills that combined human potential tools with the test prep, which I felt personally was gratifying because it wasn't like you were just preparing for a test, but you were preparing for life, and that the students could take these things beyond their GMAT score, their GRE score, their MCAT score. They could really have something to bring with them.
This is going to be so fun, Bara. This is going to be fun because you're talking about something that I'm passionate about as much as the next person. And there's this wave of relief that I feel in business school, knowing that my days of standardized tests are probably behind me. Let me ask you a question. Do you put any credence into I don't know if I call it an excuse, but the notion that I hear all the time that I'm a bad tester? Like, oh, I'm really good at XYZ, but I'm just a bad tester.
It's similar to someone saying, I can't sing or I can't play an instrument. There are some people for whom taking tests come easily. Often it's those who are just really relaxed about it and don't get bent out of shape. And it's really about teaching the skills, the strategy, the content. And then what we do that. But then beyond that, we were also looking at how's your time management? What's happening with your reading? Are you reading fast enough? And then who are you going to the test? Are you going in and saying, I hate taking tests, I'm not a good test taker? And is that your mantra? Because then you're creating that reality. So even if someone has a history of not being an amazing test taker, they can always go into a test and do incredible. But the more that they've got this confirmed bias and they articulate it, the more likely that that's what's going to happen, unless they do a pattern interrupt and change that.
Pattern interrupt and change that. I love what you said about how it's the same thought process with athletes. I remember one day in undergrad, one of my fellow classmates was talking about how he did some work with the baseball team where I was going to school. And he said that the coaches insist that the way that you talk to yourself does not include no. Your brain won't listen to the word no. So if you say, don't drop the ball, your brain is just processing, drop the ball. And so instead you're supposed to say, catch the ball.
Well, it's exactly the same sort of vibe, for lack of a better word. It's the same idea that you want to give the most simple instruction to your mind, and your mind actually can't tell the difference between what it imagines and what's real. So if you create visual experiences, imagination, fully on board with seeing yourself going into the test, seeing yourself sitting down and feeling completely relaxed, going through the test, and even seeing your score at the end, you're basically creating the treads in the possibility of that happening. And so what we do with students is walk them through that, either through our products or when I work one-on-one with students. We really want to just cover all the bases. If you want to stick with the baseball metaphor, we want to make sure that the student is really invested in the outcome. And that word don't or no, the brain doesn't always pick that up. So it's better to just go in with the positive. And also it's really helping the student identify if they're not being an ally to their own success.
Not being an ally to your own success. Man, we got to talk about MindFlow. Let's dig into MindFlow. I tried it out. It was awesome. I got room to grow, Bara. I got room to to learn to read better. Talk to the listeners. Tell them a little bit about what I'm blabbing about. MindFlow's awesome.
Thank you so much. So when I first started with test prep, I noticed that some students got really fixated on reading everything, because that's kind of how we're brought up in the school system, is that you want to make sure that you understand what's going on. You're not encouraged to read really beyond a second or third grade level, frankly, right? We don't learn, as we do in math, that after you learn numbers and addition, well, then you learn multiplication, and then you might learn algebra. But with reading, it's like you learn the letters, you learn the words, the sentences, and then go. Now, granted, you'll learn about poetry, you'll learn about these things, but we don't really learn an effective, efficient way to read better. And the only thing holding us back is ourselves. And so the way that MindFlow works is it teaches students to read efficiently, economically, and focused. And it's just calisthenics for the eyes. So it's not even like you specifically need a course to do it, but MindFlow is this really compact way of practicing at the level of business school or medical school or the GMAT or the GRE. We've got different levels, and it pushes you through with practice and teaching you how to do the methodology, plus the mindset piece as well, to really read faster. So we started teaching this in 2005 in conjunction with the test prep. And what we were seeing is, even if we worked with students the weekend before the test, let's say in just anxiety relief, which is also a part of product, students were going up like 230 points just because they needed to get out of their own way. Other students would go up significantly because they got through the test. And it's not just affecting the reading score, which we see around 28% improvement, but reading up to 5 times faster. And you don't need to read 5 times faster. If you could double your speed, read 400 to 500 words per minute, and with the same comprehension, if not better than the way that you're reading right now, you're going to have all that extra time to actually answer the questions, which is what you're getting points for. So MindFlow is a just one-stop shop to move your reading. And once you have these skills, as I said before, you have them for business school, for reading reports, for whatever it is that you're going to need to do professionally. You're going to have to read. So it's just a toolkit.
I want to make sure that I'm hearing this correctly, because that's wild. 28% improvement in performance of scores and 5 times faster reading. That's like
up to, yeah. Now,
yeah.
I had a lawyer recently go through the MindFlow workshop, because this was built out of a workshop. We started teaching in 2005. And then during the pandemic, I'd wanted for a really long time to make this an online course. And I had a lawyer go through the in-person workshop with me, and she was starting at like 900 words a minute. She went up to 1,400 words a minute.
Whoa.
Normal people, I think JF Kennedy actually read at 1,000 words a minute. So people don't need to read that for the GMAT. But if you keep practicing, you get better. It's like riding a bike. You know how to do it, and then you choose to do it or not. It really isn't rocket science. It's just that humans are lazy, and we don't necessarily push ourselves to read faster because we get into the treads of the speed that we go. Similar to walking, right? We could all walk a little faster. We might not even exert ourselves or like have a sweat, but we don't always push ourselves. And MindFlow helps to push yourself through it. And the cool thing that I've noticed with this, particularly with younger students, doesn't really affect business school students, is that once people see that they can improve so quickly, we're talking like 2 or 3 hours, you'll go at least 1.5 times faster. All of a sudden, it's like you really feel, you get that dopamine hit, like I can totally do this. And then younger students are like, I want to study because I can see the outcome of applying myself. So that's been a really amazing byproduct of the whole process.
I love that you keep drawing it back to just how practicable. I don't know if practicable is a word, but I love that there's no excuse not to get better at it. And I'm someone who has leaned into the excuse that I'm not a fast reader. Sometimes I have like 1,000 brothers, Bara. And point is,
you have 1,000 brothers?
I have 7 brothers, 7 brothers. I'm like trying to keep up with my brothers and sisters. And a big part that I envy about them is their ability to read so fast. And so I love that you're not giving any credence to the notion that you have it or you don't. Like you can truly build the skill to read faster if you just put in the time. So where can people find MindFlow? I found it. I just want you to say it so people can get it.
It's mindflowspeedreading.com. Simple.
Love it. And it really was simple. You've done a great job building the tool, and I'm excited to use it more. The other thing that I really liked about MindFlow was the free speed assessment. It wouldn't let me continue with the course until I took a speed assessment. Can you just tell the listeners how that works really quick?
Yeah. The thing is, you need to know where you're starting, whether it's on a test or your reading speed, really with anything. You want to get a baseline of where you're starting out. So whether or not you sign up for the course, we have a free speed reading assessment on the website where you can see how quickly you're reading and how much you're comprehending. When you sign up for the product, you also have a speed reading assessment and also a baseline diagnostic based on whatever test you sign up for or level you sign up for MindFlow. So if you're taking the GMAT, you can sign up for the GMAT level, and you'll be able to just gauge as you go through the program where you're at with reading speed, with comprehension, and you can even upload some of your own material. So let's say you're using the course and you're in school and you've got a PDF or a Word document, you could just upload it and practice with something that you already have to read for school.
Oh, that's awesome, because I enjoyed reading about the Mistress of a New World and that old text, but that's really cool. So I could upload a case that I have to read for class and practice on that.
Yeah, there's one part where you can practice. You can't do all the different techniques, but you can use it with some of the techniques.
That's awesome. Man, you really have built a cool thing here. Before we transition to the next part, I love this quote that you had. The ability to absorb information quickly while maintaining clarity and focus is a direct competitive advantage, both in school and in the careers that follow. All right. I have a few questions in closing just about coaching. You've been coaching for a long time. Tell us what your favorite thing about coaching prospective students is.
Sure. City Test Prep is a business that has multiple tutors that help students, and we meet them where they're at. So I don't do any of the content mastery anymore, but we have amazing tutors that work for us who do. And what I like about how we approach it is that we understand that the test is the same, but every student who shows up is a little bit different. And so we're really able to individualize what a student needs. So it's not like everyone who comes to us gets the same curriculum. Some students might really understand combinations, but are having trouble with algebra or reading comprehension. So we're really able to customize it for the student. And so what we do is we look at the 4 pillars of test taking success, which I mentioned before, which is content mastery, test taking strategy, mindset, and time management. And we gauge where the student is in each of these and then create a program for them. So I do work with students on test anxiety and on focus issues and panic and self-negating thoughts, and work with them. I really only work with them 3 to 5 hours and then they're good to go. So it's a very, very comprehensive, intense process, but it's the same thing that sports psychologists do with high performance athletes. So we bring in hypnosis, visualization, neurolinguistic programming, EMDR, tapping, some sound therapy, binaural beats. There's all these different modalities that we bring together, mindfulness. And once we empower the students, again, just like the reading speed improvements, they have this for life, right? Because whether you're going to have a panic attack before taking a test, or you have it before doing a presentation or some sort of interview, these tools you have. And so I think that the thing I love about what we're doing is that we're really looking at individuals. This is not a one size fits all big box approach.
I'm glad that that's what you love about it. What I love about it is that you keep coming back to, it's not about the test. It's not about just, the next immediate step, but this is something that we will need forever. You're always going to have to be performing. Hopefully you're in a spot where you're always needing to perform. And the mindset skills that you're focusing on they're echoing hard in my head right now. I really enjoy what you're saying.
Recently, I just got a call from someone who I worked with 20 years ago. And I had worked with him on the whole test, because at that point I was still tutoring. And he got in touch with me because I helped him get over his anxiety, and he went to business school. He actually also went to University of Michigan, and he wants me to work with his son because his son is exhibiting some of the same issues that he has. And he really doesn't want his son to be hampered until his mid-20s, right? His son is in high school now. And so I'm going to be working with him soon to give him the same tools that I gave his dad in order to really get ahead of the game.
That is a beautiful full circle story. It's sweet to hear, but that is wildly validating. Like, as a father, you're only going to do that if you really did make a difference. Kudos. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Leave us with one last piece of advice. What are you sharing?
Well, tests don't only measure what you know, tests also measure how well you take tests. So you want to really have an honest look at how you're performing and engage in the process and bring together the professionals and materials that are going to help you get to the next level.
Simple and sound, and can't fight against that. Where can people find you, Bara?
People can find out about our amazing and fun and effective tutoring at citytestprep.com. They can write to us at learning@citytestprep.com, and they can call our office, 646-290-7440, and reach out to me on LinkedIn, Bara Sapir. I'd be happy to talk with you. We do free consultations. Alan in our office is wonderful, and we'd be happy to help you get to the next level of your professional and academic career.
Absolutely. All of that will be in the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. Bara, thank you so much for coming on the show. It has been a delight to talk to you.
It's been so fun. Thank you so much. It's been great hanging out with you. And he's got 2 test prep related tattoos. I'm like, he's much younger. I know. He's got like a Scantron, I think, and then he's got like SAT or something. I don't know.
That's the nerdiest thing I've ever heard.
There's a bunch of nerds. It's very nerdy.
That's good. I love that.